everybody, welcome to Shooting the Ish, where it's George and Chris, joined not by Brian, regular Brian today. We have another Brian in the studio.
Oh yeah?
This is the Brian that used to famously say,
"Shooting the Ish."
And he's got his little dog running around here.
If you hear the pitter-patter of the wood floors, that's Sarge.
Brian, the regular Brian, had to take off today. He's shooting a movie. A new Adam Sandler project where he's playing what we would play if we got cast, a thug.
They're live from West Hollywood. It's Saturday night. Yeah, Brian's he's a must join at this point, so he's just doing extra work. Yeah, Brian, you heard me. You're just doing extra work.
Okay, enough.
This is going to get quite confusing because I'm a very self-centered individual, so I hear you say Brian.
Do you want us to call you Brian Edwards?
Yeah.
Brian Edwards.
All right, Brian. So we have Brian Edwards in studio, and we haven't been on the air for the last 2 weeks or so with a new episode. So a couple things have happened. One, I guess not the biggest thing, but the most there's been a couple tragic things that have happened. A couple people died, but we also went through Black Friday. We all survived, luckily. Yeah, man.
Not that guy in Valley Stream, the security guard.
Somebody died?
South Park predicted it right on the nose.
Did somebody die on
He got
Black Friday?
trampled to death, yeah.
Really?
Right in Long Island.
In Valley Stream.
Wow.
Huh?
How big of a guy was he? Like, was he a trampable guy?
I have no
Trampable
idea.
Was he-
guy?
The fact that I know this much about anything in the news is astonishing on its own.
Was he trampled? He was trampleable.
So this is not news. Your grandma just called you and told you that in Valley Stream.
No, I got this from AOL.com while checking my mail, and they have the little stories about your town where you live in.
Okay.
So New Hyde Park had reports about Valley Stream Walmart, man trampled to death while trying to ease the crowd, and I'm laughing, but it's really not funny.
They should allow pepper spray and stun guns to these Black Friday shoppers because they're not acting like humans as far as I'm concerned.
Well, two new things have developed this year. One was that they started opening the doors at 8 p.m. Thanksgiving.
As opposed to what?
A lot more places started doing that, as opposed to midnight or as opposed to 8 a.m. the next morning. So what happened is you have lines of people waiting at like 5, 6, 7 p.m. for the store to open, but now you have the people waiting on Thanksgiving.
Were they having Thanksgiving dinner online?
I don't know.
Like on the line? Did they bring like their stuff in Tupperware?
No, because this crowd of people would be eating shitty burritos. They wouldn't be eating a nice Thanksgiving maybe anyway.
There's nothing wrong with burritos. I happen to like Mexican fare.
But it is kind of scary to think that... it is kind of scary to think that now you have these companies that are basically telling the people, setting these people up in a position where they're not going to be with their families on Thanksgiving because of this nonsense that is primarily for the next day.
Now, what has changed on Black Friday that makes people line up earlier and earlier? Are
Cheap
they
competition, like
offering
very cheap
Are they
deals.
offering earlier deals or something, or just people just getting crazier every year?
This year, apparently, they just opened 4 hours earlier.
Yeah, that's
than usual, but it's like super doorbuster cheap deals, like a flat screen TV for like $100,
Right.
where it would cost a few hundred. Other than that, but I mean, if these people, if they're gonna forego a Thanksgiving dinner with their family and go wait online to get a cheap LCD or a toaster, I mean, how deep are their family values to begin with?
And then here's the other thing, I went into Ralph's on Thanksgiving to get some extra food. And I felt terrible because when I walked in, I see the girl working there. She's miserable. And I went up and started talking to her, like, oh, it sucks, you got stuck or whatever. But at the same point, I was there supporting that system. But the supermarket was pretty much empty. But Walmart, or these places, have now people that have to work, that don't want to be at work,
Right.
because there's a ton of people who are going to bust in the door at 8 p.m.
Yeah. And that sucks because it's not like the people can say, no, I don't want to work, because they can easily get fired.
Right.
Actually, I went to the Goodwill in Highland Park on Black Friday, and it was packed. There was lines
Really?
at the Goodwill.
Does the Goodwill slashing prices.
They had
like
some
crazy.
they had tables 50% off. Yeah,
It's better Will Friday.
there were doorbusters and doors for sale at Goodwill.
That Black Friday is the complete opposite definition of goodwill. And also, all these people waiting online, like, to trample each other for the toaster. Like, do these fucking people know about the internet? Like, you can buy everything you need on the internet.
Well,
And there's deals on there, too.
I'm
know.
still waiting for the first death on Cyber Monday. That's what I'm awaiting.
When would you say, like, the general, even the older public became fully aware of the internet? Like, mid-2000s? Like, even older people knew how to use, like, play solitaire on the internet against their buddy or something?
Well, there's an
yeah.
instant gratification about going into the store and buying something as opposed to ordering it online. So I understand that part because I like going into a store and buying something, even though most of the stuff you can find cheaper online. Like, for example, I could have bought, I replaced something on my car that would have cost me $300 if I went to the store and I found it online for $100.
Right.
You know? So most of the time you can find very cheap things. Now, these Black Friday deals are, like, unique.
Right.
Most of the time you're not going to find, like, let's say a Samsung 40-inch for, like, $50. That's why these people are acting like animals and killing one another to get a cheap TV.
And here's the crazy thing, like
Animals.
Black Friday, you have these random people who are getting trampled to death and everything, and then I go into Best Buy on on Sunday right after Black Friday, and they have the same sales that they had on Black Friday.
Right.
So essentially, you got these people dying, even for a reason as stupid as discounts. They're dying for literally nothing because the discounts are still there 2 days later.
They've just been hyped up so much to believe that this is like, it's like freaking Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Here's another new thing that happened this year. Okay, so we've all seen the videos of, like, people rushing in and, like, yeah manning each other to death. And we've seen those videos, but this year what they did, or a lot of videos that I saw this year, were these stores know that this is going to happen at this point and are anticipating it. So these guards are, like, better armed and better trained.
Here's the real question: are these companies taking into consideration casualties now? like war generals? Are they taking, like, what's the most amount of acceptable casualties on Black Friday?
Along with the security guards and the cops, there's a city morgue van at every Best Buy on Black Friday and Walmart.
It seems crazy. It seems like Roman Coliseum or Idiocracy or something like this. But no, based on what you're saying, Brian, the guards were better trained. So now, when something like that was happening, like when people were shoving and fighting, there was videos this year of guards, very authoritative, like smashing people and beating them and dragging them out.
I kind of like that too.
That is
George.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy these people got
like
beat down.
But think about the situation of what's going on in there. They're the person holding the product. They want you as the customer to come in because you got to have this deal. But the consumer ultimately should have the power because they decide where they want to purchase. Now, you've gone in with money with the intent to buy and have gotten beaten down by an armed fucking guard.
It's like American Gladiators now to get your
Seriously, like
flat
the
screen.
like 1984 weird stuff going on
Taking
here.
a risk here, I guess. I mean, I think I have a solution for all of this. When everyone's lined up, they should ask who is willing to get lashed by a big like bullwhip. And whoever's willing to get lashed can go in and shop freely, and whoever's not can go home. I know I wouldn't get lashed to go buy a TV.
Well, here's the question. Okay, so now if we go to a bar and we get too drunk and something bad happens, we could sue the bartender for giving us the drinks. That's true. It's happened.
Yeah.
Then people now begin suing Walmart over these, like,
I'm sure
I guess they do already, right? Like, if there's someone dies, like,
suing for what?
because of a situation that Walmart established where doorbusters and we're gonna throw the door open. I'm not
If an
saying
employee,
just Walmart,
yeah,
but,
of course.
But
No,
for
of
instance, they're
course you
setting
can
up
sue
a
the
dangerous
company.
situation. They're setting up what you're saying, an American Gladiators fucking challenge. But there's no rules. There's no safety things. There's no padding. They're just basically opening the door and
you
saying,
can sue.
"Rush in."
Listen, Brian Williams, next Black Friday, we're going to send you in there as a sacrificial lamb. If you get killed, your family can sue and become rich. And if you don't get killed, you can buy the TV you wanted. So everything works.
I bet you some of these companies are having their, like, you know how they have seasonal hires for like,
Oh, yeah.
the Christmas season and everything. For these seasonal hires, I bet you they're having a few of them sign waivers now for bodily
Right,
injury.
I cannot sue if I am hurt because I have been well trained.
I
for
wouldn't
10
be
hours
surprised,
at it or
man,
whatever.
because these big companies have teams
I would sign
of lawyers,
that. I would sign that
Yeah.
if in return I'm allowed to lash the customers with anything. I like pick up an Xbox and smash them over the head.
If I can openly powerbomb a customer to protect myself, I'm all for it.
through an LCD.
Well, think if it becomes a trend, that people are going in there and getting beat up by like overly aggressive guards, then you better believe there's going to be some overly aggressive customers that are going to beat up on those guards in a few years. Like, this is going to get crazier and crazier.
Forget Major League Baseball and the NFL. PED scandals are now going to be a big issue for Walmart and Target for security guards on PEDs.
This employee was taking growth hormone.
They're going to have a commissioner of the corporations.
Yeah, I mean, but think about the situation. Like, would a law? I guess you can't have a law like restricting commerce and business, but at the same time, like, this is putting people in a dangerous situation. Not only customers, but workers.
Yeah.
And you're basically pitting people against each other. First 50 people get it.
And I don't think any of those people can survive any sort of real physical challenge.
You know what they should do? They should make Black Friday deals like more of a scavenger hunt.
That's true.
Where you gotta go.
You have to be smart to figure it out. You
Yeah,
can't be
you
just
have
the
to
dumb
solve a bunch
ass.
of clues. They make it like the Amazing Race or something. Yeah.
If they somehow get to the
Yes.
top, the roof of Best Buy and see which air conditioning duct.
Shit, there's a reality TV show for you.
Okay, speaking of deaths, we had 2 famous people die this week.
2?
Yeah.
Who's the second?
Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yeah.
He was the second?
Well, he's the second person that died because he died after Paul
It's
Walker.
so funny how, at this point, the way that Facebook works and the way that the news has kind of figured out how to use Facebook and stuff like this, that you can basically guarantee what people are going to be tweeting and Facebooking about. Because Paul Walker tributes and everything were going off for like 5 days straight, and then all of a sudden the Nelson Mandela thing happened, and it's like, is this the only thing going on in the news for the week or two? You know, and it's not even like people are posting their own opinions. Like, everything seems to be very centric towards Paul Walker, which is weird. Well, he was like a nice guy. He's local to this area. He was pretty nice, humanitarian sort of guy, but I guess a lot of people were saying, Paul Walker? Like, what's the...
Was he driving the car? Because they said
No, he was in the passenger seat.
Okay, that's what I figured. That's terrible.
I know, the car burnt up, was like incinerated on the spot.
Yeah.
And
Ugh.
of course the irony is that he died in a fast car.
He died furiously in a fast car.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
wasn't driving. He's out of his control.
He wasn't driving.
Shame.
He was coming back from a charity event.
Yeah.
That's right.
That road is notoriously known for people driving fast on because it's got like really crazy curves.
Where was the crash?
Irvine?
I'm out of the loop.
Irvine, California.
Are you kidding? That's where my cousins
It's
live.
close to here, right? It's like half hour, 40 minutes from here, something like that.
It's like an hour south. It's in Orange County.
All right, so I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Where I think it is, and basically he was at a charity with his buddy, who also was a part of that charity, and they got into a Porsche Carrera GT, like a couple of years old. But this car is like legit, like street racing.
Fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they got in it, and they were driving. And who knows if they were racing somebody or if they were driving too fast? They crashed into a pole, and immediately it basically blew up.
Yeah.
And they were dead.
He's been in a ton of things. Like, you didn't realize how many things he's been in.
He's consistently for the last 15 years he's had like a movie a year, I'd say, out.
He's been in like up to 50 projects or something crazy like that.
No, he's been an extremely successful deadpan actor.
Well, what was he in? Well, he has got that look, you know?
Yeah.
I think he knew how lucky he was, you know?
Oh yeah, he was.
And his whole motto was, if I die driving fast, then... He kind of lived that fast car-like lifestyle, but I don't think...
Especially, I could imagine, like, if you're a fan of racing and fast cars and you get into a blockbuster movie franchise about racing fast cars, that's kinda,
Right.
That's kind of cool.
It's like living your dream, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think his... he might be happy with the way he died, but I don't know if his kid was.
Did he have a kid?
Yeah, he has a daughter, 15.
I mean, the good thing is that she'll be taken care of for the rest of her life. So will his entire family.
And what was he? Only 40, right?
40 years old.
Oh, my God,
But
young.
he's had a very successful career. So his family will be taken care of, but obviously they're going to be taken care of without him, which sucks. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate, and what are you going to do?
Yeah, and then so Nelson Mandela also died, but
Yeah.
he was older. And
He was 95.
95, jeez.
I mean, at that point, you had a good life.
I was listening on the radio and they were speaking. It's it's funny how
He had a good life.
well no it's
He had a good run.
He had a good.
most of his
good
accomplishments came after the age of 70.
Yeah, 60 of those years was a good run.
Which is crazy to think. It's mind blowing to think that like major world accomplishments after you're 70 years old for the next 25 years,
Yeah.
28 years. How old was he when he died?
95.
Yeah, for the last 25 years of your life were the most productive and humanitarian in a way.
That's true.
Well, he was in jail for
That's a great thing.
how many? 27 years.
27 years. And that's a great thing, like after 70, most of this stuff. So, Brian Williams, you keep doing extra work, bro. You know, maybe one day when you reach 70, you'll get that starring role.
It shows.
You know, just keep working at it like Nelson Mandela did. And he's not the only black man that's going to have success after 70, Brian.
It shows how like the fact that life is so long, and it's funny because I went up 2 years ago or something. I went up north to Oregon with my girlfriend, and a lot of the people in that town that I met and everything who were above around in their 40s or mid 40s, they were. A few people were acting like their life was basically over and everything, but
Right.
40, you're barely at the midway point.
Yeah.
You know,
At this point, yeah.
if you can just maintain a relatively healthy lifestyle, that's just the halfway point. I mean, think about how he did so much for civil rights in South Africa after he was 70 years old, after he'd been in prison for 20 something years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in today's society, we sort of reach a quote-unquote adulthood in our 30s, which is crazy.
I was thinking about that earlier, but we also live longer.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of it. But then again, in the 80s, did people live just as long as they do now, I'd say, but people were considered in the 80s adults in their early 20s. Now, I see people that are goddamn fools in their mid-20s, and I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm a goddamn fool.
No, I
too.
agree with you.
So
yeah.
I can relate.
I think that people in the 80s were making just as many, if not more, mistakes being considered adults.
Except they weren't posting their statuses for everybody to see in the 80s. That's
Well,
the thing.
yeah.
But I agree with you, George. There's like a weird thing going on with the current generation where there's so many kids out of college who go right back home when, in the 80s and before that, you hit 18, you hit 23 when you graduate college or whatever, you're out. You find your own place, you get your own job, you get your own place. Now there's so many unemployed and everything.
That's true.
With debt on their hands, they're going back to their parents' homes and everything. And so you have this kind of, not a pun, but arrested development of, maturity basically, where
That's
it's
true.
like you're still living with your folks. Because for me, at least, I know, I really didn't mature and really have to deal with life until I left home,
Oh, yeah,
and
same here.
had to, pay for my own, pay my rent, pay my utilities,
Absolutely. Same here. And,
fight for my meals for a while.
You fight for them? Where you go Black Friday shopping and get a Hungry Man meal for a quarter?
also back then, like in the 80s or so, I'd say 50% didn't go to college. Like it was like 50-50, I'd say, something like that. So people got a job, and you can afford to have your own place, have your own car, easily on a regular minimum wage job.
Yeah.
Back then.
I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to do construction. Everyone was pissed at me. So I was going to make money right away.
You would have, yeah. I mean, you get in the union and
I went to college some.
You got a credit or two over a couple of years.
Over a few years, I amassed several credits in college.
Wow.
this is the problem I see in our country with
Good for
college,
you.
though, is that
Thank you.
it's become such the standard that it's just like continued high school in a way.
Now, yeah. Now,
It feels like
it's dumbed down.
It's
It's
very
dumbed down.
dumbed down, and
doesn't mean anything at this point because a college degree now is just a standard thing, just like a high school degree used to be. And now grad school and
getting your master's, getting your doctorate, going advanced. That's the.
So you need a person that considers school a nightmare like me. Imagine basically after college or after high school, plus 4 years of college, plus 2 years of grad school for your master's, plus another 4 for like a PhD. That's another 12 years of school after high school. That was 12 to begin with. Another 12.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Can you imagine if PhDs start getting dumbed down and there's some new thing like postdoctorate degree?
Oh, I think Phoenix Online.
Well, the thing that scares me most is that you're just going to pile up more debt and debt because, you know, colleges have gotten smart and all these private universities and such, and the tuition has skyrocketed.
Right.
Well, that's
everywhere.
just according to inflation.
So,
based on the fact that we have universal health care, do you think we'll have free college like Europe does at some point, or cheap college?
ooh, I don't know. They're making too much. They got too much of a big thing going business-wise right now, you know? Private universities around here, they make so much money. It's ridiculous. You know, didn't you feel like Chris and I went to the same universities? Didn't you feel like while we were there, you know, when they were like courting you to come to the university and everything, you know, it was great. And it's like, oh, it sounded like there's so much opportunity. But once you were in the doors, it was like, we could care less about you. It's all about the next incoming freshman class.
Yeah.
You kind of brushed aside and kind of ignored to that point. I understand that, you know, it's all what you make of it too, but the administration could definitely be a little better support.
That's true. I also frequented the same university, but never as a student. I hung around the cafeteria, the film club, stuff like that. I was a regular.
The film closet. The film closet. Our little closet on the 4th floor.
It was a good place. But,
okay, so now within days of the Nelson Mandela stuff, now it's come out that the Communist Party, some Communist Party says Nelson Mandela was a communist and had ties to Cuba and whatnot.
Of course, yeah.
What Communist Party? Like from any specific
Possibly
country?
the one in Greece.
Like, is it just the World Communist Party?
Yeah,
is there,
something like that.
Is there just a general Communist
There's
Party?
a neo-Nazi party in Greece that's gaining a lot of power with all these crazy things happening in Europe and how everyone's bankrupt. Do you realize? Oh yeah, of course. Everyone's gonna come out and say, yeah, he was a closeted homosexual. He was really a woman. Who knows?
Brian Edwards?
Maybe. I don't know.
The dog doesn't like that.
Somebody heard that.
That's
What's
my
the matter?
my
What's the matter, Sarge?
That's my agent. He
Oh, this is your bodyguard.
He's been slamming into the mic stand all night.
Sarge, what's the matter, man?
What the audience doesn't know is that Chris has been maintaining a very calm level, vocal level while playing fetch with the dog throughout the entire episode so far.
Okay, so
So yeah, whatever bullshit is coming out with Nelson Mandela, who cares? The guy was an icon, basically.
that man is old. That man is dead.
Dead. ESPN went nuts over it. They were like covering him on SportsCenter all day.
Really?
When that happened.
Well, did he ever have like any good throws? Or
Didn't he have to do with soccer or rugby?
Oh,
What was
rugby.
it?
Yeah, he was that movie with Matthew Damon, Invictus.
Matthew Damon? Are you guys
Matthew Damon.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Mr.
Thanksgiving time, so
Mr. Matthew Damon?
yeah.
I really don't know his story, to be honest with you, nor do I care to.
Well,
Yes.
Matthew Damon's or Nelson Mandela's.
Speaking of Nelson Mandela and what he went through, I just saw 12 Years a Slave.
Yikes.
It was pretty sad.
Looks like it.
Do you want me to get into this, or
You can
is it
talk
just
about
too
it.
sad?
I mean, I know what it's about.
Yeah.
I would watch it for the acting.
you were saying it makes
I'm
Roots look
an
like
actor.
a PG film, you know?
Yeah, it's like it makes Roots look like after school special.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like-
is that bad?
It's that well done.
It's real.
Well, that's what
They
it
Given
made
the time period,
That's what I meant.
okay, you know how Roots was like a long-term thing that had a lot of characters, and it showed how like people got
It was a
taken,
TV
you know, people got
miniseries.
sold off by the other people in Africa. They came here, and all the bad stuff that happened. This was just one man's experience, and this kind of the themes focused on like the brutality and indifference of people in the slave economy. Let's put it that way. And it wasn't like over the top in terms of acting. Like, it presented a very realistic picture of what could happen. Yeah. He has a couple different slave owners as he got captured. He's basically a free man from the north, but he got captured and basically rooked and got down south and got sold off in the slave trade. So now he has to pretend he's dumb when he's like an educated guy who has his own house and everything.
Huh.
And it's kind of brutal, like, because some of the slave owners are sadistic, some of them are just indifferent, some of them got their own business to worry about. They can't worry about whatever he's saying.
Was it an adapted screenplay from like a book or something, or was it original?
Yeah, he wrote a book. That guy Solomon, he wrote a book in the 1800s. This is a real story.
It reminds me of I just picked it up from when I was back.
Check it out.
When I was back at my folks' place and everything. I was looking through their library in the basement, and I found Uncle Tom's Cabin was one of the books and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was over there, and I brought it, and I started reading the first quarter of it. I've only started reading it like 2 weeks ago. And it's just crazy how, you're right, the indifference, the way, I guess, the slave trade and the slave owners, I mean, just treated, you know, every African American as a piece of property, and it was just like, yeah, it's like my tool shed over there. It was, right. You know what I mean? It was.
Well, they also what they did, they didn't show the slave owners as like these high and mighty guys. Like, they were just as much into the financial debt for having the slaves, and that's why. Like, it wasn't just over glorifying any character. It was really a three-dimensional look at the whole situation. There's a couple scenes that that's not to say that the actions of anyone are forgivable, but it was not. There was nothing campy or B-movie about this.
Yeah,
a couple times there was a little bit over-dramatic with some dialogue. Like, what they would do is sometimes the slaves would whisper to each other at night, and the dialogue was like over theatrical or over smart. Yeah, man. But at the same time, I understand why they did that, to show that these people were intelligent but had a feigned stupidity all day long if they weren't to get whipped, because you're not supposed to learn shit. But how, as a human, could you not learn stuff?
Right? So what do you? They were pretending to be stupid so they didn't get punished instead of.
Right.
Why would they do that?
Because you would get whipped.
But why would they get whipped if they were smart about doing their job?
No. Because if you showed too much knowledge back in those days, if you could read and write and speak properly.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So I understand why they did that scene. Some of them were like a little too much for me, but all those things aside, this movie was like maybe gonna win Best Picture of the Year. There's a couple things that once you see it, you'll never need to see it again. I even remember the characters' names.
Was it Passion of the Christ hard to watch? Like that level?
It was, Passion of the Christ you could bash, because Passion of the Christ is taking an issue that...
So it's also a make-believe story.
Well, that's your words, not mine. But it's also focusing on one aspect of Jesus' life when there was a lot of aspects of it.
Yeah.
But this was specifically this man's personal story.
Gotcha.
And because he was smart enough to understand it, because he was a free man and an educated man, he was smart enough to understand the well, I'm not even smart enough to say the word. He was smart enough to know what was going on. So when he wrote a book, it was very insightful. Because it wasn't just someone who had never had any education working on the, the plantation. He was a smart man. There's a couple scenes that are so brutal and gruesome you'll never forget them. Like long shots of brutality. Pretty hard stuff to watch. It's basically 3 hours of sadness.
I know.
It's just sad. Let's put it that way.
That's why I haven't gone to see it, because I really do want to see it, but I'm just not prepared to be sad for 3 hours while I'm eating buttery popcorn.
A lot, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I felt that way when I was eating the buttery popcorn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the cast is stellar. Like, a lot of good cameos. Like, every time a new character comes in, you're like, oh shit, he's in that too. Like, really good actors. And towards the end, Brad Pitt comes in. I'm not going to say exactly what his role is, but he had kind of like a Quakerish Amish look to him. But I thought it was very interesting that they said that he was from Canada. Huh. And his character was just against slavery from an ideological level. So
those Canadians have always been good.
I just thought it was interesting that they had him looking like a Quaker. And there was many, Quakers and stuff like this in this country who were fighting slavery, but they specifically said he was from Canada, where there was no slavery. So, interesting choice there.
Was slavery illegal in Canada?
There was no slavery in Canada.
It just never entered Canada, or it just was it illegal? What was the deal? With,
I'm not sure. I'm not
because
sure.
slavery was a worldwide phenomenon, except it's just it got more attention here in America.
Well, the North didn't have slavery.
Okay, so that's probably
they had more racism, but the West was completely like free. That's why everyone's a little chill out here, I think, in California, because
Yeah, the West was come stake your claim.
Yeah, this was a free place.
Doesn't matter.
That's
Yeah.
true. Okay, the North didn't have, so I guess Canada's right up there.
The North had racism, which it still does, but the South was the real deal. Like,
I mean, the South, it was a ridiculous amount of money, a booming economy from just slave labor.
But I'm sure the North also benefited from that economy as well.
It was all sugarcane fields and cotton fields.
Well,
and
I mean,
farm,
think about
like,
it.
And
At our respective jobs, if we were there every day working our asses off and not getting paid, imagine how the owners would profit.
There was a couple scenes like that where
it was ridiculous.
There was a couple scenes like that where the guy Solomon, the main character, lost his cool because he's used to what we are, getting paid for your work. So there was a couple times where he broke down, or he knew something was right, but his boss, quote unquote, the slave owner, was saying something else.
Was Michael Fassbender his boss?
He was like in a way, yeah. He was like the dean. Let's put him that way. He was like the dean of one of the plantations,
I've
the
seen
discipline dean.
Certain clips of they had some intense scenes with each other.
Yeah, so he played a pretty sadistic character. No surprise there.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
It's what's it called? It's interesting that what was I gonna say? Oh, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. That always happens.
Did it derail?
Derailed.
Never mind.
Oh God, yeah. What happened there? So did the guy on the train fall asleep, or
I don't know many details, to be honest with you.
His lawyer is stating that he was put into a trance.
What?
Maybe he was listening to trance music, or
what type of a trance?
His lawyer, because here's the thing, they want to rule out alcohol, so the union's going with that he fell asleep, and I think they were able to rule out alcohol. But the lawyer, his specific lawyer, is saying he didn't fall asleep on the job. It was specifically a trance-like state of being.
It's basically, yes, you're sleeping.
He was sleeping, yeah. That was
how many
lawyer's
times
speech.
are we driving if we're tired and and it feels like you're in a daze, but you're just falling asleep.
Right.
I remember hearing something about, like when you're on long road trips and you're on the road for a while and time pass, if you're driving for 10 hours straight or something, time passes a little faster. You kind of go into a trance, though,
Oh, yeah.
You start just reacting to, like your brain is kind of shut off. It's just your eyes are kind of just guiding your hands for the moment.
Your brain perceives time differently because you're like, all right, oh man, 500 miles to go. That's easy.
Yeah.
Right, and it's crazy to think that those truckers are driving those big rigs and all day long and going far distances in that trance-like state.
Well, that's why they have all those, the truck stops and they have the beds up in their rig and everything because you gotta sleep.
Yeah, some of those rigs are getting nice.
You see, a lot of times you'll see 18-wheelers, like when you're going cross-country and everything, you see them just pulled over on the side of the road because the guy's just sleeping.
Kind of crazy to think you could do that with your wife, that job at this point. Like, if you have a big enough bed or cabin or whatever it is, that might be a pretty cool
Bring
idea.
the whole family along?
That's what I'm going to do. As soon as I get fired from my current job, I'm going to be a
cross-country ice road trucker George.
I'm going to be a regular trucker.
Honk, honk, I got the goods.
But I'm going to have one of those Jean-Claude Van Damme Volvo trucks, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm going to be driving. Those smooth ride. That you won't fall. Even if you fall asleep in that one, it won't go off the road.
Yeah, okay, so did we
driving.
talk about that last week? That commercial? Oh, we did for a second.
With Bryce.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Okay. What else is going on? What else is in the news?
What else happened lately?
That's a good question.
What's going on with you, Brian?
Well, good thing we have a news lady. What's going on in the news?
We have a news lady.
News lady.
Well, it's been 8 years since we had a news lady in this studio.
She's back with a vengeance.
It's been that long?
Any news lady? No? She didn't do her work, her job.
News lady's clamming up. It's the first day on the job.
Can't believe it. We hired you specifically for the news, and no news. What do you have to say for yourself, news lady?
Oh, I've got a possible.
Any news dog?
Have you guys heard about this new application? It's well, it's not new. It's been around for over a year now. But Vine videos and everything.
Oh yeah, it's been around for a while.
People are like getting. It's the 7-second videos basically, and it's an app for your phone and everything.
For the lowest attention spans on Earth.
I've been out of the loop so long, it's ridiculous. But I just.
Were you ever in the loop, Brian?
Nah, I don't think so. Probably not.
You're in the hyperdrive loop.
Maybe
Hyperloop.
Yeah, maybe for a second in,
So
in high school.
What about the Vines?
I don't know. It's just now content. Well, it makes perfect sense. Attention spans go down, content gets shorter. Therefore, you have these services, these applications that are going to pertain to shorter attention spans. And you have these 7-second videos on Vine now. And I have a friend who's been doing a bunch of them. And like I've seen a few of them myself too. And people are getting ultra creative within that 7 seconds. It's it's like intensive live editing and effects. Basically, it's all live effect because you can't do any post-production work on it. You have to do it all right there, and so it's kind of interesting.
It's got to all be handled through the app.
It's got to all be handled in the moment, basically, which is the thing I like about it. Actually, I wouldn't use it myself, but I think the one aspect I like about it is that it forces you to do these live effects, these live edits, and everything, and basically have your whole little scheme mapped out. Exactly how you want it. You have half a second for this, half a second for that. If you're doing some kind of effect shot, it's all live. There's no post-production, and that's kind of refreshing. And we're living in such a post-production age,
right?
With the video entertainment industry and everything. Everybody's a video editor these days. Everybody says, "Oh, we'll do it in post." Oh, we're gonna green screen something. Oh, we'll worry about it later after we shoot it and everything.
Well, it's so crazy though to think of like how quickly everything is changing. Like when someone were to technically look back at their career, let's say 30 years from now, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, from 2007 to 2010, I did YouTube videos.
Yeah,
from 2012 to 2014, I had like 35 7-second videos on Vine."
Yeah, kid. In 2013, I was an extra, kid. 2014, I was still an extra, kid. And 2015, 2017, still being an extra, kid.
Shout out to that super extra Brian Williams.
Kid.
My family's got those old photo albums in the basement. I'm sure you got a few of those too. My dad's got these giant.
I got a few of your family photo albums.
Must join, kid.
Red binders and everything. But ours is gonna be like, hey, go to my YouTube page, see what I did. Like you're showing your kids.
It's like here's a hodgepodge of things I kind of did over the course of 30 years.
All the pictures are on Facebook now. Or Instagram, or all that crap. There's no photo albums anymore. No one gets their pictures printed. I mean, you could, but what are you going to do with them?
I don't know.
If you have your pictures printed, it's
you could scan them. If you print them out, you could then rescan them.
You can scan it in and digitize it.
That's what Chris does. Whenever he prints something out, he's like, oh, I don't need this anymore, so he rescans it and
I told my family, don't send me the original. I'll scan it and rip it and
Chris,
throw
are you
it.
Completely digital? Are you completely paperless?
I'm completely digital.
He is completely digital, but with a cell phone that doesn't work half the time. Completely digital.
I'm digit some.
Me, I don't care. I'm killing trees, man. I tell the bank. I tell the utilities. Send me the bill. Send me the bills.
Oh no, I have everything via email, man. I don't want any paper stuff.
Something about
automatic bill pay and all emails is the best way because when I get it in the mail, I just throw it on my desk and forget about it.
Yeah.
So I just say email, everything auto bill pay, and I don't have to worry about it.
Maybe you slap your hands together when you tell them that everything email, everything auto pay. That's what I demand.
Oh, that's when they know I mean business.
Maybe I'm just
or
paranoid.
Like, sir, are you jerking off on the other end of that line?
Hey, kid. I actually
some ass slapping there.
I was waiting for a UPS package a couple weeks ago.
You got a problem with FedEx or something?
It's funny. On my block, I saw 2 FedEx trucks parked across the street from each other, both making delivery on my block the other day. So then I wonder why UPS is a better company. Then you see something like that. I guess 2 FedEx trucks on my block at the same time.
How many FedEx trucks does it take to deliver one package?
Yes, because apparently it took 2 for Hollywood. So I was waiting for this story doesn't even make any.
Well, the cheek implants and the breast implants come in 2 separate packages.
Well, the abs are coming in the mail as well.
That second FedEx truck is just a terrorist anti-terrorist cell unit.
Have you seen those new FedEx trucks? They're kind of interesting. It looks like European trucks now. They're taller and thinner.
I haven't seen. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it for a
I
FedEx.
think they
truck.
run on
like
like
that-
an all electric or clean gas.
Like
or
that
something
weird
like that.
Mercedes van, the
Yes.
one that's like
Okay,
extremely tall and skinny.
Yeah, what is that for? Like a family of skinny giants.
They're just the new.
America got those short and fat cars for those short and fat folks. Those,
Yeah, everybody-
those big Texas folks with the big caps, so the cars are wide enough to fit the big
the 10-gallon hat.
the 10-gallon hat.
It's standing
And
room only.
they have
in
it
those
for the
vans.
stars on the boot.
The Spurs.
The Spurs, they have enough room for the Spurs.
The Spurs and the 10-gallon hat.
We got
Dog's threatening to throw their show off the air.
He's trying to give you a virus. I hope you get a virus. You on your computer.
Oh,
That's with how high.
I also saw Catching Fire. Do you guys want to hear about that?
Man, no. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't want to hear. You think it's like Twilight, but it's not. Okay.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm just not interested.
Why?
I don't know.
I think it's like Twilight. That's why.
No, I don't think. I've never seen Twilight either. I don't know if
You never
Twilight.
saw
has
Twilight?
anything. No.
What's wrong with you?
Everyone says I should be cast in Twilight, but I've never seen Twilight.
Chris, are you a Twilight supporter?
I like Twilight. I didn't see the last one.
I have no issue with Catching Fire or Hunger Games. I just don't want to watch
Right.
it. Maybe
This-
HBO one
This
day.
was better than Hunger Games.
Oh my god.
The guys were cuter. No. There was a couple problems with the original Hunger Games. It was brightly lit, and because of that, the CGI looked crappy. Like they had these fake dogs that were kind of like not really dogs, but
Yeah, that
kind of
took
like
me out of it a
like
bit.
alien dogs.
Took me out of it a bit at the end. I was
They-
like, where the hell did that come from?
Right, they corrected that issue because they had CGI baboons that were not like half baboons, half alien things. They were really baboons, and the film itself was darker
That's
in terms
good.
of the look, so the CGI was better covered up.
That helps everything.
Also, the art direction in the last one was kind of freaking weird. Like, they go to this place that's supposed to be the Manhattan or whatever, this social hub, but everyone's got a different hairdo.
Yeah, they
It
made
seemed
it.
like 10 different art directors all took a chunk of them and did their own fucking thing. Whereas, come on, dude, even if in Manhattan, the height of fashion, everyone has the same fashion for that year.
Still
It's
uniformity.
still uniformity,
Well, it's
and
like-
they didn't have that. That was a very weird thing.
It's like a group of hipsters. Everyone tries to be so unique that they all look the same.
In this one, everyone did look specifically different, which is not natural.
Yeah.
Which took me out of it in the first one.
this is the
second
Hunger
one.
universe.
Okay, even for instance, remember the guy who ran the games in the first one? He had that weird freaking lightning bolt beard. In this one, Philip Seymour Hoffman takes over that role and has no weird facial hair. You could tell he said, "Fuck no."
Yeah,
No,
it's-
I'm just Philip Seymour Hoffman. You'll be happy about
It's like
that.
being, it's being unique for the sake of being unique instead of
Right.
having a purpose for what they're wearing.
And check it out. There is a lot of good themes in Hunger Games, specifically about reality television
I like
and
that part of it.
gaudiness and being gaudy for the sake of being gaudy.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, when movies try to do stuff like that, they emulate the thing they're trying to mock, and I believe the first one that happened to it. The first one tried to make fun of that,
I get
but
that.
itself was excessive.
It's funny. That's a flaw of a lot of, I guess, would you call it parody? I guess.
Yeah,
When
I
you
find
parody
like Will
something.
Ferrell and stuff like that sometimes to be too. Like some of those times he's playing a douchey character, it's like he's funny, but he's actually coming across as truly douchey in this role. Like some comics do that too.
It's funny in the storytelling realm and everything. You know, if you're going to present a character, you know, the audience is naturally, if that's going to be your main character, the audience is naturally going to get latched onto that character. So
Right.
even for his or her flaws,
But,
you know,
but
so
just
then-
in terms of
so
the-
these parodies sometimes that they won't translate as, you know, they won't serve the purpose that they're trying to serve, you know.
But yeah, in terms of the excess, like for instance, you are trying to come out against excessiveness, but you've just made a movie that's full of CGI and a shit ton of excessive things that you could tell cost lots of money to make.
Yeah.
So you just did the very thing you're mocking.
Right.
And I understand that because it's a book. You didn't need this dog as
Also, it was
running around.
Also, it was a direct ripoff of The Running Man, the greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever made.
Well, that's not
That is a
the,
good one.
the Running Man has. That same story gets made. That's the most
Yeah.
remade story
Yeah.
in storytelling. That like rich person pits poor people to kill each other. That story has been made over and over and over.
It happens
like,
every
one comes
year.
out every
Black
year.
Friday.
Black Friday. But but what was that other movie that came out about for like 12 hours people could kill each
The
other?
Purge.
How did that?
I haven't
happened
seen
with
it.
that?
I've never seen it. I don't know. Well, it's once a year for 12 hours. Any crime is legal.
I think that is Black Friday.
I wish that was legal. I would take care of a lot of people.
Here's a general theme to talk.
Yeah, why are people shooting up? Well, all right, I don't want anyone to shoot up anyone, but if I was a shooter, why would I shoot up a school or a movie theater full of innocent people? Like Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
would be something that
because those shooters are also want to get the LCD for cheap.
Yeah,
on Black Friday, so they're not busy shooting; they're busy buying.
I understand.
And when they don't get the LCD, they
shoot the children.
Yeah, they buy instead of buying the LCD that's sold out. They buy the rifle at Walmart, the couple of rounds, and they go to school the next day and shoot people.
There's a strategy for Black Friday. Don't head for the TV section. Head for the heavy artillery weapons section and start taking out people to get your flat screen.
I don't think they have deals on.
You head for the ninja swords. You got a strict advantage for that first deal of the day.
I don't think they discount deadly weapons.
I'll go for a Louisville Slugger.
That's good. That works. I'll take the aluminum one so it doesn't crack.
This dog's having some issues here.
Speaking of weapons, do you know that I stumbled upon this? Not stumbled upon. No.
What do you say?
I came across this on Stumbler. Speaking of weapons, is
Stumbler.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Stumbler.
The British version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was
British one.
They thought that the nunchucks were too violent, for the cover of the video game or something.
Yeah.
So they took away Michelangelo's nunchucks, but they neglected the size or the two swords. They thought that was acceptable, but the nunchucks, that was completely, that's crossing a line.
Really? Yeah.
You don't have those nunchucks.
You know, they have
exactly
a ton
what I
of
thought.
knife violence in Britain because they don't have guns.
There's no guns.
See how
So
they
either
do
way,
that?
yeah.
See how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles taught them that?
We can all learn a thing or two from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, we should all just move to Texas and have guns and eat steak every day.
You know what I kind of realized with going back to Catching Fire? There was a weird shot at the end. I won't give too much away, where there's a character just staring blankly into the screen, like looking at the audience basically, and it cuts, before the credits roll, it cuts to a logo of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It cuts to a logo of the movie. That was kind of weird.
I kind of like that,
That's
actually.
it's like a Marvel Avengers style, right? Something like that.
Like a
Yeah,
very
DC Comics will do that.
very slow unveiling of the logo of the movie.
Was it a graphic of the...
It was a graphic.
That's pretty cool. I could see that for movies. I would enjoy doing something like that.
You know what else I kind of noticed?
Yuck.
You know how they always say like sequels are rarely better? I noticed in these movies that are like planned out to be long-term franchises,
Trilogies and so on.
where they're planned from the get-go to have multiples, that
Second's
sometimes
usually the
the
best.
second one is much better than the first one.
Empire Strikes Back.
Harry Potter, those prequels to Star Wars, even the original Star Wars, but that wasn't planned. Like that was still like.
The original was still planned out, like.
But the
George
original
Lucas
the original was made before Empire Strikes Back was even greenlit. They didn't know they were gonna make that.
Yeah.
George
Was it
Lucas
written?
had that in his head. Yeah, he had it in his head, but it wasn't like
Well,
it wasn't like these studios planned. Like, all right, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, we have all these ready to go.
But in that case, you could argue the same. He had the idea in his head. He knew where the progression of the story and the characters was going to go.
Yeah,
And so, and the second movie was the best out of those.
yeah, and the prequels too. Well, the prequels the first one was not as good as the second one, even though the second one was not that good.
Our news lady's laughing at a at a text she's receiving.
I know. Who's texting you? What's going on here?
8 years we've been without our news lady, and she's back.
She's back.
She's back on Instagram.
What's on Instagram, news lady?
All right.
Apparently, our news lady is suffering from laryngitis.
And the news dog is just wrecking the studio. Sorry for the audio issues, everyone. He's currently ripping apart a stuffed animal.
He's eating Brian's asshole. Right? Oh no, it's just he was
ripping
just
the
behind
blanket.
Brian.
He's eating the blanket. He's not eating a toy.
You see this? He takes the tire and he pulls the blanket through it. He's got this little toy tire, And whenever there's a blanket lying around on a sofa or something, he has this little toy tire, and he pulls the blanket through the
Wow,
tire.
he could set a dinner table.
He could. He would be an excellent waiter.
Hey, Sarge, I need off tomorrow. You want to cover me?
Right. One other thing they did was really turn up the revolutionary tone of things. Brian, you would like this because you're so revolutionary.
That I am.
Basically, the story is kind of interesting. She's a celebrity, but she's basically forced to act like a happy Dancing with the Stars celebrity,
Right.
because there's essentially a gun at her head. But she really wants to tell the people to fight against the government, but she's put in a position where she's going to get watered down by constantly doing what they tell her to do in front of these people who will then lose faith in her. So the first sector they go to is like a sector full of completely black people, like a mining town or some sort. And it was kind of shocking. Like, they show these guards that are like willing to beat anyone who guards that are willing, like Black Friday guards, like willing to beat up anyone who speaks out. And then as she goes through all the different sectors, she sees like there's all sorts of people. Like, the sector she's from is like Pittsburgh. Like, it's like poor white miners or something like that.
Right.
And then there's even guards in her town. So it is kind of interesting that this sort of message would be exposed to the same audience that like stupid ass Twilight is exposed to.
Well, maybe it can learn them something with its message.
So that's about it. Anything else going on in the news?
I think.
Oh, George, you'll like this. Goodfellas is coming to TV.
I know. I heard about that, and I'm telling you now, I will be on that show.
You will?
Yes, absolutely. I was planning on being on another show, but I found out yesterday that it was canceled.
Well, how are they going to do that, though?
Because it's gonna. The movie takes place from like 1950 to 1970.
Right.
So they're gonna take each person's individual stories, like Robert De Niro's character, Joe Pesci's character, Henry Hill, and all that kind of stuff.
So is every season going to be its own character? Is every season going to be its own decade?
It's not that.
Or is it just jump around, like
It's not
Godfather 2 or something?
It's not laid out like that yet. It's just been agreed upon that it's going to be written by the same guys that wrote the original, basically.
Well, this is kind of why they said there's no original ideas, because it's so hard to get a new concept over that. People get excited when they hear about an old one.
Yeah.
Or one that hasn't been used in 20 years, but they have the license for it.
Or one that's considered a classic.
Something that has a brand already.
Because they're not remaking the movie, they're just making a TV show. So the movie itself is still going to stand as a classic, and it's just going to be potentially a good TV show. Now, AMC is making it.
Oh,
so
that's good.
That's good, yeah.
AMC's becoming a lot like HBO.
What TV shows were successful that came from movies? Or
That came from movie? It was a movie first?
Movie first.
My Big Fat Greek Life was not good and got canceled.
Right.
Remember that?
Was MASH originally TV or a movie?
I don't know.
The Shining was a miniseries movie.
After.
Later.
A TV made.
Yeah,
It was like
there was like several reincarnations of it, but it was only a miniseries.
You know why, right?
It delved further into the story than the movie had time to.
You know why Stephen King was pushing for that?
The miniseries or the movie?
The miniseries. Because he did not like Jack Nicholson in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Jack is going to be Jack in every movie.
The story was supposed to be about a guy who's a regular man who slowly goes crazy. But Jack Nicholson is fucking crazy from the beginning and just continues slightly more crazy.
Was a crazy man that became completely deranged.
Yes. There was supposed to be a character arc, and Jack Nicholson was just Jack Nicholson doing whatever he wanted, basically.
Yeah, man. Same with in Batman, like he made the Joker his own. He's just badass Jack.
Yeah, I mean you have to respect that.
You do. I love it for what he is. You know, he plays that. You know, one flew over the cuckoo's nest too. He plays that very
Jack Nicholson
live wire type character.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Remember that story when Heath Ledger died and the paparazzi ran up on?
Oh yeah, what a crazy fucker!
The paparazzi ran up on Jack Nicholson when Heath Ledger died, and he was like coming out of a club in France or wherever he was, and they're like Jack, did you hear? And he's like, what? He probably had a couple drinks in him.
Yeah.
And they're like, Heath Ledger is dead. And Jack Nicholson was like, well, I warned him. Like basically telling him I warned him about that Joker role.
Yeah, that's true.
But Jack Nicholson's not a method actor. What do you warn him of? Jack Nicholson plays Jack Nicholson.
I know.
That's true. Hopefully I can play George one day.
Hey, man, the man's wiser than he looks.
I heard Kirstie Alley telling a story of back in the day in Hollywood that Jack Nicholson jumped in her limo. I guess he's like an older man than her, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Jack Nicholson," and she's like, "I know." He's like, "Are you married?" She's like, "Yep." He's like, "All right, see ya." He just left.
She's coming out with another show named Kirstie. Another show.
I don't think she wanted it to be named that. I think the network made her name it that. They had
There's a reason
they had their
that-
own name for it.
Okay, because Michael Richards is in this one.
Michael Richards and Rhea Perlman are in it. Rhea
Really?
Perlman from Cheers. I
yeah.
think what happened was when they were on Cheers, Rhea Perlman and Kirstie Alley said, "Let's make a show together, like later on, like let's
spin off."
They were just talked about it for years,
Right.
and then finally they got it together. They got
30 years later,
They gave a second chance to what's his name,
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards, who's awesome comic actor.
He's a physically genius, a genius physical comedian.
Got thrown under the bus for Don Imus reasons.
Yeah.
And they also have another guy on there, like a younger guy that's like kind of unknown. Well, he's on like the Broadway scene, but he's not known to like TV sort of thing. So I would like to give it a chance. I haven't seen or heard
I could
anything
care
from it
less
yet.
anything about Kirstie Alley ever. After Look Who's Talking, I was done. But the only person from Seinfeld that has had multiple successful series.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Exactly.
Veep and
Veep and
New Stories of Old Christine.
Yeah, because that was successful, but it got canceled, I think, as well.
Yeah, Veep's
And
still going though.
Veep is on, I know that. But Jason Alexander had a show, got canceled. Michael Richards had a show, got canceled.
Everyone from Seinfeld looks like the same as 20 years ago.
Well,
Especially Julia.
yeah. They look a little older, but overall, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, even Larry David looks the same.
Yeah.
Very true. Larry David looks better with his old age. You know what I mean? Like when he got to Curb Your Enthusiasm and everything,
That's true, because he's always looked like an old man.
seems like
now
he's happier.
he is an old man.
Well, he's finally happier after he finally had the success of he was being so defiant to the producers.
Well, yeah,
throughout the
you're on
whole
network
Seinfeld
TV,
series.
Yeah,
good for him.
he's
man.
a comedy
That's why
genius
he's the best.
dealing with freaking.
That's why he's the best.
Yeah.
No comment.
I heard him on the radio the other day.
Who?
Larry David. He was with Michael Kay. He's just the most regular dude. He's not even trying to crack jokes. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah, well, he walks around in New Balances all day, and he's a billionaire.
He's the
Yeah.
quintessential New Yorker. in my
multi
mind.
hundred millionaire.
He's the quintessential New Yorker as far as I'm concerned. He represents New York to me more than anyone else.
Speaking of famous New Yorkers, before we go, I saw Mike Tyson, Undisputed Truth.
I saw most of that, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
It's good.
Okay, let me just.
I've heard about it, but I haven't
He says.
seen or heard it.
Okay, this is what happened. So Spike Lee basically directed the recording of his one-man show that he's doing in Vegas, and they played it on HBO.
It was on Broadway before.
It was on Broadway.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so basically it's him just on stage doing a one-man show, telling jokes. You could tell he is comedic, and then there is certain raw moments where he does comedy stuff, but you could tell some of the jokes and the 3-beat joke structure are written for him. Like you could tell he's kind of like got someone writing them into a comedic format.
I'm surprised he had all that. He had all that down pat. Like, I'm shocked.
Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, for what it was. They go through in the beginning how he was a stick-up kid in Brownsville, which, if you've ever gone there, is basically hell on earth.
That's the part that I didn't see.
Where is that? Baltimore?
That's in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
New York guy.
I used to have to be there for a certain reason, and I even got held up by a gun.
Brownsville? I've never. Where exactly is Brownsville?
Brownsville is like in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
in
but
by
where?
the A train and.
Let's
Is that
say
the
in
nickname,
A-Train.
or is that's a nickname, right?
No, Brownsville's the name of the town.
Brownsville's
it
the name
is.
of the town. Now, let's say in relation to Greenpoint or Williamsburg, where is Brownsville?
East, southeast.
Okay. All right. Oh, so yeah, anywhere east of Brooklyn is bad.
Okay, let's put it this way. Like Ozone Park?
Yeah.
If you were to keep going west from there,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
that area.
Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
is it
No,
basically
that's
it's like
bad.
south of the Jackie. You know, basically one of the worst parts of Brooklyn.
That's dangerous. That is dangerous. Like East New York area.
Yes, it's around East New York. That's where it's around.
Huh.
And it is a terrible neighborhood. And he talks about how he was a stick-up kid, how he would rob and fight and stuff like that, and he had to fight other kids in the neighborhood
Right.
for gang territory. He got so good at fighting that he got arrested like tons of times, and they basically put him in a program for
Troubled youth.
yeah. He also was pretty open and honest about being like special ed kid.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, his time in special ed.
He was in the Special Olympics.
Oh
back in
yeah,
the day.
yeah. They talk a lot about Customato. There's a lot of stories you already know, but what was funny is that some of these stories he told from his point of view. Like there was a famous story where he beat up a guy badly in the street, and the story is ridiculous that the guy was super high and kept coming back for more. And Mike Tyson was beating him so bad that at one point the guy was laying on top of a car, and Mike Tyson was giving him uppercuts while the guy was hanging off the edge of the car.
Oh my god! Imagine fighting Mike Tyson in his prime, like a street fight.
And in a street fight, yeah.
Oh man.
He was a brawler to begin with.
Yeah.
And forget in the ring, you're safer with him in the ring than in the street. Like he'll kill you.
Till he bites your ear off, Holyfield.
I bit of the. I apologize.
They talk about the ear bite. They talk about how basically Don King was robbing the shit out of him.
Oh yeah.
And how he was so manic and he was being worked so much that he, at that point when he got out of jail, he was just a loose cannon when he bit the ear off. He talks about the reason he got into Islam is because he was always acting violent and crazy in jail. He would get thrown basically in the holding tank, in the in the solitary room.
Yeah.
But he said the Islam guys were peaceful, and he's always saw them as peaceful. So that's why how he got into it.
Huh.
He also says that a lot of celebrities visit him in jail. And one time, Jan Brady, I guess, came to visit him, and he was all chained up, and the guards wouldn't let him out of solitary. And he said he turned Jan Brady away because he didn't want Jan Brady to see him chained up like an animal.
Oh, I think I've heard that
No, do you
story.
He was
think
basically
that he-
muzzled in a room.
Do you think that he raped that girl?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think he did. He says
It was consensual.
he says I've done a lot of bad shit, and that's the thing. He's always been honest. Even when he wasn't this nice guy, Mike Tyson, even when he was a complete dick, he was always honest. He said, I'm an animal. I'll kill you. I'm in pain. He would always reference that he was in pain.
It's true.
You know, that's true of some people in special ed, and this is not a joke or anything like that. They're honest about their feelings, and he's always been honest.
Huh,
Even
that's
when he was
interesting.
angry and telling you he'd hurt you, he was telling you, I'll hurt you because I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry at myself. I hate myself. I want to kill
It's
myself.
like a warning.
That was when he was like melting down, but at the same point,
Yeah.
he says, "I've always been honest about the bad shit." He's, I have no reason to lie about this at this point. I did not rape that girl.
Plus, he did bring up a good point. It was in a hotel room, and she told him to walk her down to the car, and he said, "No, I'm tired." You'd think like if a chick got raped, especially like by Mike Tyson, and she managed to like leave the room, if he allowed her to leave the room, that she would start screaming like going down the hallway and
Right.
whatnot. If you got raped by someone like Mike Tyson, who's scary, man. I've seen him in person. He's not tall, but he's like a brick house.
And when he
truck,
got
man.
and
Built
before
like
he
a
went
truck.
to prison, the neck was bigger than the head. He had that like Kurt Angle, or he had that old wrestling.
Oh yeah, like you couldn't
fighter thing going
even if
on.
you had him in a headlock, like it wouldn't affect him. Like it was just huge. So I mean, he got taken advantage of left and right after Customato died.
They also talk about how he was with. He also bashes hard Robin Givens bad.
Oh,
Telling
really?
me
I
She's a
didn't see
gold
that.
digger, and her and her mom were just milking him dry.
Oh, yeah, okay,
He was
yeah.
really still angry with her, like talking. He shows the picture of their wedding, and he looks at him. Like, he looks at their picture together, and he looks at himself, and he goes, "You fucking sucker." Talking to himself. He's like, "You stupid
That's what she
motherfucker."
was. She just was wanted to be an actress and wanted to suck him dry.
Yeah. Oh, he also tells the famous story about how when he showed up as the jealous ex-boyfriend and Brad Pitt was the new boyfriend.
Was that the case?
That is a true story, but now he tells it from his point of view. The story is that Brad Pitt was dating Robin Givens, and Mike Tyson showed up as the ex.
Oof. What do you do there?
Right. So the story is very basic. The story has just been rumored, like Brad Pitt must have been shitting his pants. From Mike Tyson's point of view, he says he was still screwing around with her because they weren't fully divorced, but they were separated. So in his mind, he figured, I'm gonna go to her house and get laid because she's still my wife.
Oh yeah. That's right. He did say that.
So he shows up. Brad Pitt is there, and he's like, "Who's this pretty motherfucker?" And Brad Pitt's like pleading with Mike Tyson, like, "Please don't hit my face. Please don't hit my face." He goes, "Mike,
Really?
We're just reading for a role."
Is this Is this Mike Tyson's
This is Mike
story?
Tyson's version. He goes, "We're just reading for a role." He goes, we were talking about you the whole time, Mike." Like, stuff like that. And he's
How
like,
old was Brad Pitt at the time?
and Mike Tyson was saying in his head, he was saying, "Damn, this motherfucker is pretty."
Is this like Thelma and Louise young?
A little bit after that, I think.
Yeah.
But
He was
there.
ranking on the movies Robin Givens was doing. He said basically at this point, Brad Pitt's a big star and Robin Givens is nothing. He was really ripping her.
But at that point, if the chick that you're dating, if her ex-boyfriend is a killer like Mike Tyson and he comes over, the only thing you can do is either plead like that or run.
I kind of
If there's any sort of physical confrontation,
or
you're gonna
get
die.
or get buddy with him if you can. I think Brad Pitt would be able to do that if anyone could do that. Like Brad, but I guess he was real young at the time.
But that I mean, you have
get
to
his
He was
have,
like
charisma till
young
later.
soap opera looking.
but you have to
actor.
have some sort of sliminess in you to be friends, to want to be friends with an ex, even if he's coming over to start trouble.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna try to be friends with him, either you just say, "I'm sorry." No, let's not turn this into anything, or you run.
I think of Brad Pitt in the Ocean's movies, and that character dealing with it, where it's just like, "Hey, how's it going, man?"
Well, it would have been cool if
No,
you get
he
the snatch Brad
basically
Pitt.
but think about it. This is not this is Mike Tyson.
Yeah, no,
This is
Mike
not
Tyson.
a rational human.
No.
So you would have to plead. You would have to be like, "Oh my god."
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I bet.
No, well, if it would
One
be,
girl would be worth it.
it would be
Kill
cool
you.
if you had the snatch Brad Pitt against Mike Tyson. That would be a good fight.
Oh yeah.
The drunk boxer, the drunk bare knuckle boxer.
Pretty good.
Put the Quaker Brad Pitt from 12 Years a Slave against him.
Oh man, but yeah, that is good. I like Spike Lee. I saw he got game for the first time. the
Oh,
other
yeah?
day. It's good.
Spike Lee can be a little excessive.
I do the
Like,
right thing.
It's a little long. His
Tarantino's
movies-
like that too. And did you see Spike Lee just try to pull a Tarantino with that Old Boy movie?
I want to see it, but
No,
I hear
I haven't
bad
seen
things.
I heard, same thing here.
I'll catch it. At some
Wasn't
point.
he bashing? Wasn't he bashing Tarantino for using the N-word in Django so much?
He's a little much for me, honestly. Spike Lee. He did a good job on this thing, but his excesses just kill him. That's why directors have a short shelf life. I think your excesses catch up with you.
It depends. Like 25th Hour is one of my favorite movies. Like top 10 or something
Right.
like that. He did.
Oh
that.
no! In terms of skill, he's got expert level skill, but
ego takes over a lot
Right.
of the time, and that's what people get destroyed by their pride and their ego when you don't need any of that shit.
Well, that's why I love guys like Stanley Kubrick, and then speaking of actors, Daniel Day-Lewis is everything. He said because they'll come out every few years and do a movie. They're not just going to come for the next paycheck. They're going to wait for the project that they actually love and they want to get behind. You know,
That's true.
Kubrick made like 8 films in his whole life.
yeah. What's that guy from Gravity and Children of Men is kind of doing that. Children of Men.
Alfonso
was 2006,
Cuarón.
and he didn't make another movie till just
2005, I think, right?
2006.
Oh, okay, yeah.
7 years.
Oh man, I think he's my favorite new director, Alfonso Cuarón.
New.
He's good. He's been around, but he's good.
But,
He
He's
did
not-
one of the Harry Potters. He did the best Harry Potter.
He's still young though, you know what I mean? He's still he's not young, but as a director, he's young because directors, usually you
One day-
you break out in your mid 30s, early 40s.
One day, people are going to be talking about us as filmmakers and animators over their podcast or whatever form of technology and media that they're.
Yeah, they'll be like, George, he died too young. And they'll be like, Brian, that dude's been on crack for years. And I'll be still doing the podcast. I'll be the one saying it.
Chris, will you have a podcast memorial like you did for Mr. Kitty for me if I go too soon?
Nah, fuck that.
That
You don't
guy-
get
that
that.
guy, Chris-
That's only reserved for higher beings. Like Mr. Kitty.
That guy Chris always has a hood on his head.
A
wherever
female
he goes.
cat with a male name, Mr. Kitty.
That's right.
That guy Chris only goes out from his door to the post office with a hood on his head all the time. Why? He doesn't like being outdoors. See Subway wrappers in his garbage, but that's about it.
yeah, like Salinger. They're gonna dig for clues about me and only find like fat boy things.
Knowing you're gonna burn everything before you croak.
I don't want anyone to know.
You're gonna
that
be
I ever existed.
like the movie J. Edgar. You just like tells the secretary, burn all the files. Don't let Nixon get him.
He's just gonna plan his time of death and just light a match.
They were saying there was Andy Kaufman. They had a little. The brother came out and said he's still alive. And did you see all that? There was like hoaxy stuff going on.
There's a chick claiming that she was his daughter.
Yeah.
Did he have any kids?
Well, I guess the reason anyone's even entertaining it because if anyone was to fake their death, it would have been him.
Yeah, but 20 years, he would have been keeping it a secret for 25, 30 years.
Think about what would happen if he came out.
Think about the kind of comedian he was. He was
It.
always playing practical jokes on the audience. That was his thing. He was so ahead of the game, with comedy.
If that was real, if that is real, and he comes out at some point, in order for someone to top that, they have to start now.
Right. I'm gonna do that.
Like, okay, all right. So 2013. All right, I'll see you guys at 2045.
That's crazy, especially in this digital age. It's hard to keep secrets, but I had a dream actually about Andy Kaufman. He convinced me to steal a helicopter with him.
Oh, you told me this.
And when the helicopter crashed and the feds were like coming in on us, Andy Kaufman just ran away and left me there. I was like, ah.
You must have known that.
I realized, and I wasn't mad at him, and I said, you know what? All right.
It's my fault.
I said, no, I knew what I was expecting.
Shit.
Anyway, that's a little bit too much information. Let's wrap this up. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for keeping the color pencil in your ear the whole show.
For notes, just in case.
Hey, it's a regular pencil, all right? Number 2.
Thank you to your dog, Sarge, who ran into the mic the first half of the episode. Sorry again about the audio quality.
Thank you for the wonderful news from our beautiful news lady.
Welcome back. 8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
Welcome
back. News lady, will you say anything? One word.
Leave us with a final word, news lady.
Well, hopefully it's not another 8 years.
Hold on.
I can't remember the news lady. I want to say Janice. Can't remember her name.
News lady, can you just say the word of the day, the word of the week? One word out loud.
What word did you want to be?
I think that was
the word of the day.
That was more of a sentence than a word.
Like we can't. It's okay.
The word of the day is what do you want?
We're on the radio.
What you want? What?
She's like Kenny from South Park. There's a crash on the 405. Overturned truck in the right lane. All right.
No, the highways are clear. People, don't freak out.
Up. Mighty Kong.
Dogs emerging from the blanket.
From the ashes.
You know what?
Dog will arise.
All right, and goodbye from the dog. All right, thanks everybody for listening to Shooting the Ish. Check us out at Shooting the Ish, ISH at what would Brian Williams say, at gmail.com, but it's really .com.
Go to Twitter.
You can see us at the internet.
Yeah. Turn on your radio, kid.
YouTube.
Facebook.
All right, well, congratulations to Brian Williams for getting a role in the new Adam Sandler project. Good job, Brian.
Yeah, make sure they pay you overtime for the featured extra.
What a hater.
Must join, bro. Must join.
Okay, well, shootingtheish.com, shootingtheish at gmail.com if you want to send us a message, or check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and also YouTube. And that's about it. Brian Edwards, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you to the dog, and thank you to the newswoman.
Thanks, news lady.
Any word of the day? We're about to leave.
Last chance.
The word of the day is no. And no means no, Mike Tyson. We just talked to him for an hour to get that soundbite. See ya.
Be seeing ya.